I want to draw your attention to this head and shoulders right here, this structure, okay? When have you ever seen a structure at the neckline, whether going up or down, go straight through? It just doesn't happen, right? Typically, and why I believe that we will bounce somewhat, even if we don't bounce all the way to this region right here, we at least bounce to this region, we will get some sort of relief rally because this has to retest, okay? As whenever you see a structure, a large structure, or any structure form right before the breakout, you get a retest, okay? Now the question is, will our retest be of the larger two-way variety, or will it be a minimal retest, which would imply this wave has not yet completed has not yet played out completely, right? Meaning we don't have 5 waves in yet, and that's the big question. Hello everyone, my name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is January 24th, 2022, and the question is Bitcoin done dumping? Will Bitcoin find support at this level, this crucial level right here, right? Will we bounce and get the relief rally we're expecting? All right, and that's basically the question, because and let me tell you why it's likely. I want to draw your attention to this head and shoulders right here, this structure, okay? When have you ever seen a structure at the neckline, whether going up or down, go straight through? It just doesn't happen, right? Typically, and why I believe that we will bounce somewhat, even if we don't bounce all the way to this region right here, we at least bounce to this region, we will get some sort of relief rally because this has to retest, okay? As whenever you see a structure, a large structure, or any structure form right before the breakout, you get a retest, okay? Now the question is, will our retest be of the larger two-way variety, or will it be a minimal retest, which would imply this wave has not yet completed has not yet played out completely, right? Meaning we don't have 5 waves in yet, and that's the big question. So it's not a question of if we'll bounce, it's a question of how much for me, because of this right here. That's what I'm seeing. Like, this structure has to create a bounce. There's just too much resistance here, and this before breakout must create some kind of bounce. But I do believe that we will eventually play this head and shoulders out, okay? And if we zoom out and we look at this head and shoulders structure, the target for it from the top to the neckline and down, and let's go on the logarithmic scale, obviously, or else we go into the negative. And so let's redo that. So let's just clean this up. Okay. Let's use proper indicators. So for those of you who are new to this channel, welcome to the best technical analysis channel on YouTube. And I don't think that's so difficult, because there's a lot of sort of channels that give analysis, but it's not technical analysis. It's replete with fundamental analysis, and a lot of them that claim to be technical analysts actually just give their own opinion. It's not substantiated. They say, I would like for the price to do this, and I would like for the price to do that, which, like and dislike has very little to do with, the actual analysis. Okay, anyway, so I believe that the neckline actually for this, one could say it's here, but one could also say it's here. If it's down here where we're at right now, we actually have to form some sort of consolidation here for this to be the neckline, okay? And if that was the neckline, I don't think this here can be the neckline, because the reaction or the retest here was insufficient, right? The neckline would have to at least, usually you see the retest be at the right shoulder or beyond the right shoulder, okay? So that's why I believe that this is going to be the neckline right here, but not before we create some sort of consolidation there. That's what I'm seeing just structurally in terms of pattern analysis, right? This is what my eye sees. We will have to create this head and shoulders with a neckline here, and that target in time will be played out, in my estimation, to the downside, and that will should give us from the top to this neckline that will eventually form, in my opinion. And I'm still not on lock. How do I keep doing this? Okay, let's go on log, auto. There we go. Let's try this one more time from the top to our future neckline and down. It's a target of 16K, okay? So that's what I'm seeing in Bitcoin. I believe that we will eventually play that out, okay? But not just yet. Not just yet. So what am I seeing? I am seeing a bounce. Question is, and now we're on the daily, I think it's important to point out this volume bar. Okay, I don't use indicators much. And volume is an indicator, believe it or not. I'm, exclusively using price action at this stage in my trading career, in my charting career, and I just don't see the use for it. But I keep the volume on purpose, because I believe that that's one of the indicators that is really, really reliable, and it's quite simple enough to interpret. If I'm looking at volume on the daily, I see nothing really outstanding until this bar. And so when I'm looking at that bar, it tells me two things. When do we see volume spikes? In Elliott wave theory, you see volume spikes in wave 3, usually, where most market participants are buying or selling, right? You get most people to market, right? People realize the trend and they want to get in on it. Or by the end, in wave 5, usually wave 3 of 5, where people are like, ooh, I know the trend, and everybody gets in on the trend, and you then exhaust the trend because everybody who's ever going to buy or everybody who's ever going to sell, as in our case here, is in on it. So this is an indication to me that this is wave 5. This is the end of this particular trend, okay? It could be wrong, but that to me is important. That's significant, because I'm looking laterally and I don't see such a volume spike, okay? To see volume like that indicates an exhaustion of trend when you're looking at an Elliott wave structure. And so we go back to our purported wave count, and I'm still seeing This is 1, this is 2, this whole thing is 3, right? This is the end of 3, big 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we just finished 5, okay? That's what I'm seeing. It could be wrong, right? It's never too simple to say, yeah, this is the only wave count. Like, there could be other valid counts that make it so that this trend is not yet complete, i.e., we still have further downside. But for those two reasons, one, this neckline forming a pattern or a structural resistance, right? That's number one. Number two, this volume bar, I believe it corroborates this wave count as being accurate, okay? Yes, it could be that we get a bounce, and that bounce is simply, if this wave count were different, maybe a 4 wave, meaning there was one more wave down of 5. But, and this is why I have this alarm set, what is this? I'm basically telling myself, and I want to cover my bases because you always want to watch your back. You always want to be careful. You don't want to get overconfident, right? You always want to leave the room for possibility. There's always a probability that you may be wrong and there's some other viable outcome. I don't want to be caught unawares. I want to draw your attention to this, right? This is a valid support turned resistance now, okay? And this was the previous neckline. Now, if we breach this resistance, I think we can fully expect to retest the 52K region, okay? If we don't, and this region right now is at around 40K, 41K. If we can't make it above 41K, that to me would indicate that this count is probably off and that this right here would be some sort, if we find a sort of a limit, or how do I say that? An upper limit, an upper boundary here, and we range here. That to me indicates that this count is off and there's probably one more wave down because this is a consolidation of the fourth wave variety or something, right? A wave 4. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm just trying to give you guys all the scenarios. I am right now trading for this to be the count and for this to be the A wave retracement up until this region. But I have set the alarm here because until which point we breach this level right here, I'm leaving the other scenario is possible. I hope this is helpful, right? You just want to be cautious. But yeah, that's basically my take on the daily time frame. Now, if we zoom in to smaller time frames, 15-minute, we can see this last wave that we were expecting. Actually, we can see a few things. Let's go on the 30-minute time frame. And here we were saying that we were in a complex correction, probably WXY, but we could get WXYXZ, right? So a 333. And we ended up getting a 333. Okay, for those of you who don't know Elliott wave theory or Elliott wave analysis, there are such things as complex corrections, and they're basically periods or points where a price action spends the most time in corrective state, okay? This was a complex correction, and so was this. And the 333 I'm referring to was the one below here, right here, okay? And so you can just count it out, and it's helpful, not necessarily to trade. I mean, obviously people can trade anything, but it's helpful to know what's going on, where we're at, when we're likely to get a breakout. So that's W, that's X, that's Y, that's X, that's Z, right? That's a classic triple three. It's basically in the complex directions, there's slanted counter trend. So this is a trend, right? There's slanted counter trend, and there are rules for measuring each of the waves. You can look them up. One of my favorite manuals, it's in the description below. Elliott Waves Made Simple. There's a link to it in the description of this video. But also, you see that you have all of these waves. We don't count them A, B, C because they're complex corrections. We use W, X, Y, X, Z. And you see, yeah, the general trend is counter, up, 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 up. You kind of form an upwards channel, and then you finally get your final wave. So I think that's what we got. We got a triple three correction, and we got our final wave, I think, right here. And I think we're going to find some upside. The question is, again, where to? Are we going to end here, or are we going to go higher, right? And if we're going to the even smaller time frames, have a look at this purported bounce. We seem to have bounced off of 33K, thereabouts. We got a candle. So I'm on a 5-minute time frame, which is extremely small. But let's just say we're on a 15-minute candle, or 15-minute time frame. We would have gotten a 3.5% candle to the upside, okay? That's significant, okay? That's significant. A 3.5% candle with a retracement, right? Right here. And we should get some sort of C wave or some sort of impulsive wave from this, if this is indeed a bounce. So that's what I'm seeing on all time frames. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was useful. Trade safe. Really keep in mind the likely scenarios, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.